It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the three films of April 25th, 2008. This is the penultimate weekend before we get to the summer movie season. So let's see what the studios have up their sleeves here before they roll out the big summer blockbusters. And we at least got one movie that's pretty good. This one right here we're about to talk about, the biggest new release of the weekend. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler starring in Baby Mama. So yeah, definitely much more mainstream type of movie than something like a smart thing like 30 Rock. But this is a movie where Tina Fey plays a successful and single businesswoman who has long put her career ahead of her personal life. Now 37 years old, she's finally determined to have a kid of her own, but her plan is thrown a curveball after she discovers she has only a 1,000,000 to 1 chance of getting pregnant. Undaunted, she is driven to the South Philadelphia working girl played by Amy Poehler to be her unlikely surrogate. Simple enough. After learning from the steely-headed of their surrogacy center that Angie is pregnant, Kate goes into precision nesting mode. Well, is reading children's care books, baby-proofing the apartment, and researching top preschools. But the executive's well-organized strategy is turned upside down when her baby mama shows up at her doorstep with no place to live. An unstoppable force meets an immovable object as structured Kate tries to turn vibrant Angie into the perfect expectant mom. Will they ever get along? I mean, yeah, do I really need to continue on with the synopsis here? I mean, it's pretty much a standard plot overall. And yeah, as I said before, it is very much a straightforward mainstream comedy. You're not going to get anything too smart or too clever or anything too, not a highbrow comedy like these two can really do with 30 Rock and Amy Poehler would later do with Parks and Recreation. But a movie like this doesn't really need to be that way. If these two can show that they can still be very funny, even with a much more lighthearted comedy, then you definitely get a lot of that here. It's definitely something that really works very well here. There's a great cast that surrounds this movie. Greg Kinnear has a good role in here. You got Dax Shepard, Sigourney Weaver, Steve Martin, Romany Malco, Maura Tierney, Holland Taylor, Will Forte, Fred Armisen, Jason Mantzoukas. There's a lot of good people in this movie, and there's a lot of things about the film that makes it work in the long run. I think it is a very fun film, and it really does show that Tina Fey and Amy Poehler still have that magic that they had together when they were doing Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live. I mean, this is a film that's right up their alley. It's a good movie. Is it one of the best movies they've ever done? No, it's no Mean Girls, but like it's not Tina Fey doing Mean Girls again. I mean, it's a movie where it just works very well on its own. Doesn't need to be anything too smart or too clever, but it just works on so many levels where you go into it with the right mindset, you can have a real good time with it overall. It's a very enjoyable film, a very entertaining film, one I'd highly recommend checking out, Baby Mama. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the second big comedy that came out this weekend, and that is Harold and Kumar are returning in the sequel as they went from going to White Castle to this time escaping from Guantanamo Bay. I hope you're laughing because guess what? That is the majority of this entire movie. Jokes that are so simplistic, have been done to death so many times before, and they think they're being so goddamn clever about it, and they're just not. If you want to talk about one of the most inferior comedy sequels you will ever see, look no further than Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay. Even though this film was a much more successful movie than the first film was, the first film worked because it was a smart satirical comedy that was allowed to make those jokes, but but it worked because they weren't going down the same route we had seen done before. We're not getting lazy jokes out of it, and the stuff that they were doing that could be lazy at times still ended up being very, very funny. In this film, it's the complete opposite. This takes place the day after Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, where they return, and they decide to go to Amsterdam because they set it up in the end of the first movie. And Harold doesn't want to wait 10 days to see Maria again, so on the plane, Kumar lights up his new bong. The air marshal thinks it's a bomb, and Harold and Kumar are arrested as terrorists and sent to Guantanamo Bay. They manage to escape, make their way to Florida, and head to Texas to find Kumar's ex-girlfriend fiancé, the well-connected Colton, and get him to intercede with Washington on their behalf. Kumar still has a thing for Vanessa. The feds are in hot pursuit, and the legal weed of Amsterdam seems a long way away. So is a good script, because good Lord Almighty, this film is like, when I first saw this movie, I liked it. I thought it was a perfectly serviceable movie when I saw it back in the day. But man, 15 years has not held this movie up very well. More than that, actually. 17 years to be fact, since this was 2008. But still, This film has not held up well over time at all. This thing has gotten worse and worse and worse the more you look at it. Just that trailer alone, with all the bad jokes, all the jokes that you can see coming from a mile away. You know, everyone thinks they're terrorists. Everyone thinks that they're, you know, every white guy in this is racist. You know, everything, you know, the TSA goes crazy. Is just too much. You know, there's Guantanamo Bay. You know, there's a whole thing where, like, let's play around with the stereotypes and all that type of stuff. And it's just like, that's all throughout this movie. And it would be fine if the movie was funny like the first film was. But it's not. It's nothing like that. This movie is unbelievably bad. Like, I could not believe I didn't see it the first time around, but yeah. This is a terrible movie. And when I was looking up the notes for this, I think I finally figured out what it is that makes this not work. This was originally supposed to be a direct-to-video movie, but then they decided to put it in theaters. Which makes a lot of sense, because this film quite literally feels like a direct-to-video movie blown up for the big screen. And not in a good way. This is a terrible, terrible film that is just so... Everything about this movie is so terrible. I mean, this thing is not clever. It's not funny. All the good stuff that was in the first movie, it's not there anymore. And of course, they got to throw in they actually have to throw in an antagonist this time around who is so easy to spot right from the get-go. And the reason why this whole thing is happening is because of that dude. And it's just like, are you fucking kidding me, man? Like, I remember watching this for the first time and thinking to myself, there's no way you can be this serious. Like, you really have you really have done it. You've really gone down this route and doing something so simplistic and so horribly unfunny and clever. Like, and you think you're so smart about it. It's just... my head is just shaking just thinking about this again. I could not believe how badly this film has been poorly, what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is that this film did not age well at all. That's what I've been trying to say. Like, it should be not be that hard to say, but, you know, my head gets so, you know, screwed around so much I can't even figure it out. But, yeah. I mean, this thing has aged poorly, and this thing is not funny. It's not clever. Yeah, the pot jokes occasionally will get a laugh here and there, but man, the comedy in this movie is so terrible. It's so badly put together, and it's not that the film isn't trying. I mean, yeah, Harold and Kumar still have that great chemistry together. I like the fact that Vanessa seems like a good character, seems like a cool character that can connect, that could be, you can see her and Kumar have good chemistry. Kal Penn is a smart guy. I mean, this was a guy that was in the White House when Obama was president. I mean, this guy is a smart dude, and like I just don't know what happened here. I don't know if it's the directors of this, who are the same writers who wrote the first film, but I mean, I don't know if it was just the fact that this was their first film and they just and this is how they decided to take it. But I mean, I don't know, like, because again, these are the guys who created Cobra Kai, so there is the sense that they are very gifted writers, and these guys know what they're doing. I think it also is, I mean, I'm looking at their filmography here. They only directed 2 movies, and another one here, yeah, I could definitely see this coming from the same director, because the other film they did really was not a good movie overall, and that was American Reunion, which was the 4th installment of the American Pie movies, which brought everybody back together again from the American Pie movies. And yeah, it definitely felt like a film that was not made by the same people who made American Pie, and just completely just, you know, it just didn't work overall. These guys were not the right people to direct this movie. I thought they directed the Christmas movie, but no, it's a different director altogether. I think this guy, Todd Strauss-Salian, no, he didn't. That was actually his first film he did, but but yeah, the Harold and Kumar Christmas movie is definitely the much better sequel. It's a much more funnier movie. It's much more clever with the 3D. It's much smarter. It's much more enjoyable. That one, I would say, definitely check that one out. But yeah, this one right here, this one has not aged well at all and has gotten worse over time. This is a terrible movie, man. I hate this film so much. I mean, I cannot believe how badly the downfall for this film was. I mean, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle was such a really damn good movie, and then to go from that to this, like, it's amazing I didn't see it the first time around, man, because the first time I saw it, I was just kind of like, it's fine, it's nothing too spectacular or amazing, but after time has passed, yeah, This thing is definitely the worst of the Harold and Kumar movies. It's one you should definitely avoid. Avoid this one. Go straight to a Harold and Kumar Christmas. That's the one. That's the one sequel that I would recommend. This one, no, not so much. This is a terrible film. Avoid this one like the plague. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here, and that is Ewan McGregor and Hugh Jackman in the thriller Deception. So let's see, you've got Wolverine, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Glinda from Oz the Great and Powerful, and Nikita all starring in a movie together. But, erotic thriller nonetheless, but, yeah. You have Cat and Mouse. Jonathan McCrory is an auditor in Manhattan, played by Ewan McGregor, moving from office to office, checking their books while working late. A smooth and well-dressed man named Wyatt Bowes, played by Hugh Jackman, chats Jonathan up, offers him a joint, and soon they're pals. When their cell phones are accidentally swapped, Jonathan answers Wyatt's phone to a series of women asking if he's free tonight. Jonathan discovers it's a sex club. Busy, powerful people meet each other anonymously in hotels. Jonathan falls for one of the club members, played by Michelle Williams, who he only knows as S, whom he's also seen on the subway. When she goes missing, patterns emerge, and Jonathan faces demands involving violence and lots of money. So, there's a good idea here with this movie, but it's one of those movies that's literally existing for the fact that, it's trying to suck you in with the sex in this movie. I mean, it's a movie literally about a dude who's essentially in a sex club, and you've got all these different women that these guys are involved with. Charlotte Rampling, Natasha Henstridge, who else? Maggie Q, as I mentioned, and then Michelle Williams. But here's the thing about this movie. It's another one of those movies like a Basic Instinct 2 and a Showgirls that's literally trying to sucker you in with the TNA. And if you don't have a good script to work with here, you're not going to sell the movie. You're not going to make a great movie off of this. And sadly, there isn't a good movie here. Everything you kind of expect with a film like this is in there. There's nothing that's significant. There's nothing even that sexy about the sex scenes in general here. And it's another one of those movies where if you really want to see some boobage from this movie or some sexy women in sexy lingerie, that's what the internet is for, man. You can go to either Mr. Skin or Celebrity Movie Archive. If you want to look for those clips that badly, there they are online. You don't have to waste your time with this movie. And yeah, nobody should have to waste their time with this film. I remember watching this thinking I was going to get some action in this, but yeah, it's another one of those erotic thrillers that has no thrills and is certainly not erotic. I mean, this is not a good movie whatsoever. It's a bland story. The mystery aspect doesn't work very well. It's a movie that is trying to be the next Basic Instinct, but the thing about Basic Instinct that a lot of people don't really understand is that Basic Instinct had a hook to it. The sex scenes were legitimately intense, and there was a good mystery going on in there. There was good characters that you wanted to get behind. Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone were casted well in their roles. What the problem is that nobody really looks at what made Basic Instinct work and only sees the stuff that did, the sex scenes, like, Sharon Stone, moving her legs around in the interrogation room, the sex scenes, the ice pick and all that. Everyone wants to try to recreate that, but they can't just do that because they don't have a good script to work with here. And despite the actors that they have involved in here, there's just literally nothing about this movie that makes it worth it in the end. Like, you waste your time waiting for these moments here in general. And if you really want, like I said, if you really want to see the nude scenes, the internet exists for a reason, and there you go. That's the reason why. It just doesn't work. It's a terrible film. It's a bland mystery. There's nothing that makes it intriguing whatsoever. And yeah, you'd be better off just avoiding this one too. So yeah, avoid Deception like the plague. And so with all of that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. And now we're going to get into one of the more fun summer movie seasons of recent memories. In fact, I would honestly say this is probably one of the best summer movie season we had since 1982. I mean, this was a very good summer full of movies. And, you start off with Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in a movie that essentially was essentially the equivalent to E.T., Jurassic Park, the game changer for the future of the summer blockbuster as a whole. We'll talk about that one. We'll also talk about the movie that combated it, Patrick Dempsey's romantic comedy Maid of Honor with Michelle Monaghan, and also the independent movie Son of Rambo. In the same year we got Rambo, we got Rambo. So we'll take a look at those three movies, though. That'll be something that we'll look at coming up on tomorrow's show. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, notification button, and the bell. because you get updates on when new videos come out, and we do post new videos here every day. So with all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.